Hello amazing people, my name is Chenemy and once again you're welcome to my channel. In today's video I'll be teaching you how to make this crop shirt and short. But before we get started, I'd like you to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notification button so you get notified each time I post a new video. So for this video, let's get started. So go ahead and fold your fabric into two. We're going to be cutting out the back piece first, and then I've marked out my start line right there at 1 inch high. So I'm going to go ahead and place my shoulder measurement at 7.5, my armhole measurement at 8 inches. I'm trying to confirm that I have 8 inches right there and also 7.5 inches for my shoulder measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and connect all the points like so. And then right there, I'm going to place my bust measurement divided by 2 plus extra 2 inches. And then I'll come up by 1 inch around the armhole. Then I went ahead to mark the middle of my armhole. Then I connected all the points to meet each other like so. So once that is done, the next thing to go ahead and do is to place your shirt length. So for this crop shirt, I want my top length to be at 18 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 20 inches across my shirt length like so. So I'll mark 20 inches. By the time I'm done sewing, I'll have 18 inches across it. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and mark my under bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches. And I'm going to connect it upwards to meet my bust measurement. So once that is done, I'll place my neckline at 3 inches wide and ½ inch deep. So my back neckline is 3 inches wide and ½ inch deep. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut it out. But before then, I'll be slanting my shoulder by ½ inch. And then I'll go ahead to cut it out. I like to do this part last simply because sometimes we tend to forget to slant our shoulder. Now I'm done cutting and this is the back piece for my shirt. And then the next thing to go ahead and do is to fold your fabric into two again. And then you're going to go ahead and place the back piece on top of it. This other piece will serve as your front piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark 2.5 inches in front of it like so. That will be my button. That will be for my button. So the next thing to do is to connect all the points. I'm connecting my back neckline and I'm marking it there at 3 inches. I want to make sure I have the same point for the front neckline. So I'll go down by 3 inches for the front neckline and I'll connect it like so. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have all the necessary points together. So I'm connecting it to make sure I have 3 inches deep for the front neckline. So once that is done, I'll connect it like so with a curve for my front neckline. And then I'm going to go ahead and indicate the back neckline and then the front neckline. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut it out. So I'll go ahead and cut it out like so. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and cut open the center front like so. And then the next thing to do is to go ahead and cut out the front neckline. And then I'll go ahead and indicate my 2.5 inches that I've left out like so. So once that is done, we'll go ahead and cut the sleeve. And I want the length to be at most 7 inches high. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it at 8.5 inches high. 1.5 inch for folding in allowance. So I've gone ahead to indicate 4 inches for my armhole line. And then I'll go ahead and bring my front piece and then measure around the armhole. And then I'll place it across the sleeve like so. Whatever you have, place it across the sleeve like so. And then I'm going to go ahead now to place the sleeve round, which is 15 inches divided by 2. I have 7.5, and then I'll go ahead and add extra 2 inches to it. So at the hem there, I'll just go ahead and mark 7 inches and then add extra 2 inches for sewing allowance. Then I'll connect it like so. Now my sleeve is a bit wide. My client wants it to be wide. He doesn't want it to be too tight around the sleeve round. So if you want also yours to be tight, just go ahead and measure where you want it to be tight and then place the measurement accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and slit open my sleeve like so. And once that is done, this is my slit. So the next thing to do is I've gone ahead to fold my center front like so. What I'm marking right here is 2.5 inches that I left out for my buttons. And then I've gone ahead to fold 2 inches inwards. Now what I did was to fold ½ inch like so, and then I went ahead to fold in 1 inch like so. So at the end of the day, I had 1 inch right there. So This is 1 inch, and then I'll go ahead and top stitch across it like so. And then I'll repeat the same process for the other side of my center front. I'll top stitch on it like so. So it's a repeated process, just do the same thing. So after top stitching, this is what I had, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my back piece right side facing up. Then I'll place the other sides of my center front also right sides facing each other like so. I'm going to place them like so, and then I'll go ahead and join the shoulder at 0.5 inch. So I'm done joining my shoulder, and this is what I have. So the next thing you want to do is to work on our collar. Go ahead and measure around your neckline from the beginning round to the end of your neckline. Mine is 18 inches right there. And once that is done, you go ahead and fold your fabric into 4, just like you see me doing. Fold it into 4, and then you're going to divide your neckline by 2. So 18 divided by 2, what I have there is 9 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and place 9.5 inches across my collar right there. So for my collar height, I want it to be 4 inches high altogether. This is a cut together collar. So I'll come in by 1.5 inch from the side, and then I'll mark 8 inches right there for now. And then for my collar stand, I'll mark 1.5 inches across my collar. 1.5 inches is for my collar stand, and then I've come in by 1.5 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and blend the edge right there to give it that curve that a collar stand has. So around that 1.5 inches, I marked right there, and then I connected it to the edge of the collar by the side. So the edge of the collar right there is where I connected it to meet. I'm just trying to blend this curve to meet it right there. So at the center of my collar right there, I went in by 1/4 inch, that's 0.25 inch, and then I just connected it up front a bit. And once that is done, I went ahead to cut it out like so. So just follow what I'm doing and cut it likewise. So I'm just trying to follow my collar stand slowly. I'll just cut it to meet that point right there, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. So you're done cutting your collar. What you need to do next is to open up your collar like so, and then this is what you have. It's a cut together collar. So I've gone ahead to iron paper gum on it, and then I folded it inwards by 0.25, that's 1/4 inch, and then I went ahead to sew across all the parts like so. I just sew a little bit just round the collar like so. So I'm just trying to trim off the excess that I have on all sides. So once that is done, I had to turn my collar inside out. So just go ahead and turn your collar inside out. I'm just trying to bring it out on all sides that I have sewn. You need your scissors to be able to push the edges out so it can come out clearly. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and give it a good press. I'll iron it very well, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm done ironing, and this is what my collar looks like. So the next thing to do is to pick up your collar and then pick up your shirt, and then you're going to attach your collar to your shirt. So pick up your shirt and make sure that the inner of your shirt, that's the wrong side, is facing up, and then go ahead and place your collar around it. Once you're done, go ahead and stitch it. So I've done sewing it around. You can see the wrong side of my shirt is facing up, and then I've gone ahead to sew right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and tuck this in like so. So when I tuck it in like so, I'm going to top stitch on top of it. This is a very simple method of attaching your collar, and it comes out very neat. So I'm going ahead to top stitch it. This is what I have, and I've also gone ahead to iron it, and it's so neat and fine. So once that is done, we're going to go ahead and work on the hem of our dress. So I folded mine 1/2 inch inward and also folded it 1 inch backward again. So I have 1.5 inches for my folding in allowance. So if you have less than that, just go ahead and hem your dress, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew right there. So I'm done sewing, and this is what I have. I'm going ahead to hem my shirt across all the edges like so by 1.5 inches. So once that is done, this is the sleeve, and I'm going ahead to do the same thing. I folded in half an inch and then 1 inch. So the next thing to do is to place your shirt right side facing up, and then you take your sleeve and then mark the middle of your sleeve like so. Then you're going to go ahead and place it on the middle of your shoulder like so, and then you sew to your left and also to your right. That's you attaching the sleeve to the shirt. So I've done sewing, and this is what I have for the shirt after attaching the sleeve, and then I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the other side of my shirt. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and close my shirt by 1.5 inches across it like so. So just go ahead and measure whatever it is that you have. This totally depends on how wide you want your crop shirt to be, but I don't want mine to be too wide. So the allowance I left out was 2 inches, so I went and closed it up by 1.5 inches. So I left half inch for ease. So once that is done, this is my shirt, and then this is what it looks like, sitting pretty and fine. So the next thing we're going to be working on is on the short. Now this short is not a high-rise short, it is a normal short. So if you want your short to be a high-waist short, go ahead and add 3 inches to your crotch length measurement. So I'm marking my start line right there, and then I've gone ahead to mark out 2 inches I left out for my band. I'm going to go ahead and mark it right there. So taking out 2 inches for my band, I'm going to place the length of my short at 20 inches. Now I want the short length to be 18 inches, and then I added 2 inches for folding in allowance. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and place my hip measurement divided by 4 at 10.5. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and mark out 2 inches, which is my band height, and then my hip measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches for my crotch depth. Now if you're doing a high waist short, please add extra 3 inches to your crotch length. Mine is a normal short, that is why I'm using 10.5 inches. So I've gone ahead to connect all the points, and then I extended my crotch by 2 inches, which is the crotch extension. Then I went up by 1 inch around that crotch area, and then I connected it to meet the extension right there. So once that is done, I'm just making sure that I have all my measurements together. So what I will have right there is 10.5 inches plus extra 2 inches. That is going to be 12.5 inches. So once that is done, I've gone ahead to connect all the sides like so, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. Now let me say this again. If you're making a high waist short, please go ahead and extend your crotch extension by extra 3 inches or more. This short I'm making is a normal short, so my crotch length remains the same. So I'll go ahead and slit the side open like so, and then this is what we have. This is the first piece for our short. So to cut the back piece for the shorts, I'm just trying to align the fabric together. Just go ahead and fold your fabric into 2, and then place your front piece on top of it like so. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and make sure that my fabric is laying flat, and then I'll go ahead and connect or extend my waistline by 1.5 inches upwards for the back piece, and then I'll connect it from the side to meet the center front. So I'm adding extra 2 inches extension to both the back and the side of the front. So that's extra 2 inches right there also. And then once that is done, I'll go ahead and make sure that I connect all the points together like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 inch upward like so, and then I'll curve in my crotch depth for the back piece. It's very simple. So I'll go ahead and cut it out like so, and then the next thing is I'm going to go ahead and cut out all the marked area like so. Once that is done, the next thing to go ahead and do is to cut your pocket. I'm going to go ahead and fold my fabric into two, and then I'll go ahead and place my palm wide open like so, and then I'll mark across it. Once I'm done marking across it, I'll go ahead and cut it out. Actually, I did 4 pieces of this, 2 on each side of my pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out like so. And I like to slant my pocket like so, so it sits properly on my pocket area. I don't like it straight, so just go ahead and slant it by 1 inch and cut it out. So I've gone ahead to cut out 4 pieces for my pocket, and then the next thing is to cut my band. So my waistband is supposed to cover my hip measurement plus extra inches for allowance. So what I have right there is 45 inches for my waistband, and then I have right there 2.5 inches for the height. 2.5 inches because I'll be attaching it to my short by half an inch, and then I want extra 2 inches to be for my waistband. So I'm just trying to cut out the waistband like so. Once I'm done cutting, this is what I have for my waistband. So the next thing to do is to pick the front piece of your short, place them right side facing each other, and sew across the crotch like so. So repeat this process for the back part also. So this is the front piece, and then repeat the same process for the back. So I marked 1 inch away from the waistline, and then that is where I'm going to go ahead and place my pocket. So I'll be placing my pocket 1 inch away from my waistline like so, and I'll go ahead and sew like so. I'll do the same thing for the other side of my short, 1 inch away from the waistline, and then I'll go ahead and place my pocket right there, and then I'll sew like so. So it's a repeated process. I'll do the same thing for the back piece. So this is me repeating the same process for the back piece, and once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and place my front piece facing up, and then I'll place my back piece on it like so, right side facing each other like so. So I'm just trying to align both sides together, the pockets together, to make sure they are sitting together. So once that is done, I'll go ahead and mark the area I'm going to go ahead and sew. So this marked part is where I'm going to go ahead and sew on my machine. So I'll sew around it like so, then to meet the hem. So just go ahead and sew around the marked part like so. So I'm done sewing, and this is what I have. And then I've gone ahead to repeat the same process for the other side of my short. The next thing to do is to go ahead and hem my short, and then I want the hem to be at 1 inch when I'm done. So I folded in ½ inch first, and then I folded it 1 inch backwards again. So together I have 1.5 inches, and I'm going to go ahead and top stitch on it like so. So the next thing to do is to go ahead and close my short by aligning the both crotch together like so at the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew from the hem right there to the middle, and then I'll sew also to the hem on the other side. So after sewing, this is what I have, and then once that is done, I'll go ahead and open up my back seam allowance like so. I'll open it a bit at about 1.5 or even less. Once I open it up, that's where I'll be attaching my band to my short. So I'll take my band, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to my short round the waistline like so. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and put in my elastic band. I'll tuck it in like so. How you know your elastic band is okay is when you stretch it, and then it stretches to the end of your fabric, so you cut it at that point. So this is what I have, and then I'll go ahead and fold it backwards like so, and then I'll stitch across it like so. That's me closing the back part of my short. So with this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial. I'd like you to like, share, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube can recommend my videos to other viewers. I love you all. Bye. See you in my next video.